This is the job today. Just got set up, working on this metal roof. It's got this weird cricket here behind it, and it's got some metal flashing that's not really flashed in right. So we got to rip all this block work down. This is getting pretty old. Some cracking. The flues are pretty bad. Let me turn the light on so you can see flues are all cracked up from a chimney fire. It's cracking on this side. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, you can't see the cracking on this one because it's so coated, but this one's all cracked up too. Not as bad as the other one, but down you can see it right down at the bottom too. So we're redoing these, redoing the flues, redoing the chimney. So usually I try to get people to do brick because I just don't like the look of block, but this guy's a little older and he's set in his ways and he just wants as cheap as possible. So we're just putting back chimney block. Just like this, it's a full block, goes all the way around. You lay them, one at a time. The ones we'll be getting are solid. These ones are cored. You gotta fill them up solid. So there's no point in getting cored for a chimney because you gotta have solid masonry. So yeah, we just got done setting up. This is my setup. I'll walk over here to the scaffolding. This goes down to my trailer, so all the material, all the demo is going to go right into the back of the trailer, and we've got just about everything we need here for the liners and stuff. We have to go pick up material. We have to go pick up block and mud for redoing that. So we're going to demo today and get some block up. So I'm at the lumber yard, and they just sold me these blocks. They told me they were solid, and clearly they're cored, and we know by code chimneys have to be solid, and I'm not going to take the time to fill every one of these with mortar. And then not to mention, if you look at the round edge on that, how could I ever butt two of them together? Look what I got in the middle, a big round ugly thing where I'm supposed to mortar them together. I don't know. I'm told that these ones are made by Gilbert Block, and however, I don't know why they make them like that, but that's a bad idea. I'm not buying them. I have to go somewhere else. So after a small excursion, we ended up, we were able to find some chimney block. We ended up going to another place down the road, and they sell normal chimney blocks. So these chimney blocks are 15 and 5/8 by 15 and 5/8. The same size as a normal block, and they are 3 and 3/8 inch wide. They probably ought to be a little wider than that, but this is the best we can do. And as you notice, they're solid on both sides. This is the top, this is the bottom. See, it's got these little lines. That's how you know that side goes down. But they're completely solid, and they have squared off corners, so now we can butt them together like any other normal block. I have no idea why those block at that hardware store had rounded corners. It doesn't even make sense. You can't put the blocks together. It would look just dumb. Yeah, so now we have to get them up there. Look at all these guys. It's starting to get angry. Turns out this cricket here makes a nice bat cave. Looks like the bats have been hanging out in here. Although I didn't see any come out when we started, so maybe they're not in here anymore. But leaving a pile of evidence. We're at the point now where we're not going to be taking any more block down. I've taken the block down to the top of this metal flashing, and I don't want to really get into all that metal flashing. So that's as far as I'm going to go down, and it will be new block from here back up to the top. So, you know, this chimney wasn't built to code, and there's really not much I can do to you know, fix it. It's the wood's all built up against it. The block is not filled solid, and we have some cracking in the block. Here, this cracking was caused by, you know, the chimney fire, and I'm not going to be able to fix all that. So this is just part of the you know, when you're doing repairs, you run up against stuff like this sometimes, and I know I can't rebuild this whole chimney, and they don't want to pay me for it. So my next job here is to finish the flue removal. And you can see that these flues are all cracked up, and they're going to go in pieces. They're hard to take out through the top. I could take out like a couple more of these pieces, but I can't reach down that far. So this is my flue buster. This might be the intro to the flue buster. I don't know if I've actually shown this before, but basically it's just these chains with these little steel padlock things here, and it's got a button lock adapter that goes onto these steel rods. So this is a starter rod. It's just got like these button locks where they lock together, so I don't have to twist them, and this end will go into my drill. If you can tell, I wore a flat spot in it just so the drill doesn't slip. And I just put it in a regular drill. This drill's nothing special. I've had it for probably 20 years. It's a ratchet chuck, and I'm trying to kill it just so I can get a new one. And I don't know, it just won't die. It's actually been pretty good. I can't kill it. I mix buckets of mud with it. I do this, and it just doesn't die yet. It smells like burnt plastic once in a while, but it just won't go. So yeah, I've got, I don't know, these are 5-foot rods, and I've got plenty enough to reach the bottom. And what you know, most people would think you'd start at the top of the flue with this. So most people think you'd start here, right? And you'd start spinning it here, but you don't. You go all the way to the bottom, and you start working your way up from the bottom. So I'm going to go down, send these rods down all the way to the bottom where I can feel the bottom, and then I'm going to start working my way from the bottom up. And you know, these clay flues are in 2-foot sections, so I'm going to try to get at least 1 or 2 flues every time I go, and then I'll go clean it out at the bottom. And if you don't do that, what happens is you get jammed up. You can't just do the whole thing at once. You have to just do a little bit, go clean it out, do a little bit more, go clean it out. And if you start from the top, what happens is this stuff will all start breaking in, and it will fold onto itself. Like a piece will break off and bridge across the hole, and then all of a sudden you'll have a big jam. It'll just be a bunch of broken pieces, and it'll get all jammed up, and you won't be able to, like, you'll be stuck for hours, and you won't be able to get it out. So these chimney block, they're pretty ideal for doing this kind of removal, because they have a little space around the outside of the flue, and that usually makes it go pretty good. Sometimes if there's a big space around it, there's chance for bridging and jamming and stuff like that. that's what it's looking like at the end of the day. I'm just getting ready to wash the roof up. I only got a few block on, but we got all the flues out. We definitely had a little trouble with the flues. They were stubborn. There was a couple spots in the block work where the mud had just, where they packed the mud in between the flue and the block wall. And when we break out the flues, they all get wedged up on those big chunks of mortar. So it took a while. We had to get some jams. It actually probably took a couple hours to get that all sorted out. It probably should have taken an hour, but it might have taken it. It might even, I don't even know how long it was. It might have been 3 hours. I don't know. But the sun just went down over there, and that means we don't have much time to clean up and get ready to get out of here. I got to get this boiler plugged back in. I got to put the smoke pipe back on so they can run the boiler tonight. They use it for hot water, so kind of important. I could give you a shot down here if I grab my light. Let me see. There you go. I don't know if you can see some of the big chunks down there, but there's some really big chunks hanging off, and that's where we got caught up. It was more down closer to the bottom, I guess. That's what this side's looking like. So plenty of room for liner now. This one's getting a 7-inch for the boiler, and we don't have to insulate that one. That one's getting a 6-inch for the wood stove. That one will be insulated. And we're cleaning up and getting out of here. So it's just it's a little bit after 8 o'clock this morning, after we got everything ready to go. When we just got some mud up here, a couple block, getting ready to finish this up. So we're going to use wall ties to hold this together. So from now on, every course when we level out, we'll tie it together with some wall ties. Every bucket of mud will lay about 5 of these chimney blocks, and that includes the bed joints and the 2 filling the head joints here. So we've got 2 buckets of mud mix, and that's probably going to get us almost the whole way. Should just about finish us. We might need to mix a little bit more. So we're going to get going. It shouldn't take us too long to finish this, and then we're going to start working on probably put the liners in and then work on the flashing. All right, we're right back up to where we started from. Started ripping down the existing chimney with this height, and that's talling off by code over the peak, so that's where we're stopping. It doesn't take long to do this. It took us about 45 minutes to just put this up. Everything was up here. Most everything was up here. Yeah, these blocks aren't, they come out of a mold, and they're kind of, some of them taper a little bit, so you can't really be a perfectionist while you're doing it, because you'd be at it all day and you still couldn't get it. So like some of them will lip the tiniest bit over the next one. You might not even see it on camera, but the size is just, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the sizes are just ever so slightly different. They're kind of like wedge shaped. So it might range through on this side. And this side, it might not range through perfect. It might be indented a little bit. So you can only really range one side, and you can really only plumb one corner. And then you just have to let it run. If you try to get too fussy, you'll spend hours here and you won't get anywhere. So now that that's up, we're gonna start, we're just gonna finish jointing and slicking it up, and then we're gonna start working on the flashing and the liners. So I'm working on just getting these top plates on, and I gotta cut these sections of the liner off. You may wonder why I have so much sticking out the top. It's usually because I'll bring a section from my house in the morning, like a 5-foot section or a 4-foot section, whatever I have to do the bottom. between the two tees, between the clean out tee and the thimble tee. So usually gives me an excess like 4 foot sticking out the top. So this is an older style top plate. I don't typically use this. I don't know how they sent me this on accident somehow, so I'm using it. And it's got the old clamp on it. It's made for really heavy or heavier liners. This liner is a light heavy wall. So it's not crazy heavy, but it's decent. I had to cut these to kind of try to match the Flue. So I got to get a custom rain cap on here, and there's no room with these block. So I can't have it sticking over. I can't have this was sticking way out to here. I can't have it sticking over because then I won't be able to mount my custom cap right down the edge here. So this is what I had to do to, so I have to get my concrete on here. So I put my concrete crown wash on, and it's got a taper, but I'll probably put a steep taper on it. And then my mounting flange will sit right on that steep taper. That's what I'm thinking. It's just a really narrow chimney, so you can't have all this stuff hanging in the way if we want to put a custom cap to cover the entire thing. And then this. So this just comes and sits down over. I tighten the storm collar up like that. Honestly, it's a really ugly setup. I don't like it at all. So this is what we're doing inside. Oh, this guy. Hi. What's up, dude? This dude just wants attention. So this is the boiler flue, but years ago they must have had a wood stove in here. So they've asked me, they just had it capped off with like one of those metal caps. So I'm gonna actually take these brick out, chip out this joint here, and refill this stuff. I have some brick that I think will match pretty good. Might not be perfect. And this mortar is a little grayer, so I'm gonna have to try to get some grayer mortar. The stuff I used up top was a little bit whiter or light gray. This stuff's a little darker, so I'm just gonna try my best to get it to kind of match. I told him it's probably not gonna be perfect, so but he's okay with it. And that's what we have to do on this floor. I'm getting ready to cut this flashing in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just cutting counter flashing in here. So this flashing is already watertight, it's already working. So I'm gonna cut some flashing in, counter flashing just on top of it. And we're gonna follow the angle all the way up. I've removed some of the caulking here, and I'm gonna slip my lead up behind here into there and just underneath here. And so this is going to be a weak spot back here, and it'll always have to be maintained. So this will have to be caulking up over the lead to make sure no water slips in behind it. And then I've got this spot here where I got to figure out what I'm going to do. They just had it caulked up before, and if it was tight, maybe I would do the same thing, but I don't know. I might end up trying to cut in a vertical piece of flashing to go over here, or some kind of metal. I haven't decided. And then in the back, we're gonna have just a short piece of flashing cut in for the back. And this side is even worse. Oh, if you look at the gap here, I gotta try to get that in. I'll probably have to put a couple tap cons or something in here, drill in some tap cons to hold that in for me while I'm trying to do this side. And then this gap is even worse. I gotta try to either get this in, which it doesn't seem to want to go in, so I might have to, like I said, cut in some flashing vertical here. which isn't typical, but I just want to make sure it's as watertight as I can get it. Without, I mean, it's a lot of caulking. So I'll probably try to cut in a piece of vertical flashing, I guess. I don't know. That's what these things are about. You always got to kind of figure out, like, every setup's a little different. Like, you know, this little cricket here is pretty wonky. And you just got to figure out how to make it work. So I got everything cut out for my lead, and I couldn't get this piece of metal tight, so I had to just drill in and put a couple Tapcons in there to help hold it in. And then on this one, we got it in pretty close here. I pulled the top piece off so I can cut this piece of wood a little shorter on that side, so we can hold that metal tight. And I think we might just caulk it in the same way it was before, rather than try to mess with doing some kind of vertical lead or something. Just got the concrete crown wash on. I got to fit a custom cap on here, so I really don't have much room on each side. So I had to really taper this concrete so my flange will sit on here at an angle, and then I'll get my custom cap on. So just barely enough room because I angled it. Had I built up the sides more, there probably wouldn't be enough room. So this will work. I got the flashing done. You know, sometimes when you're doing the flashing, it's like I don't know, you got to deal with what's there, and sometimes it ain't the prettiest thing. Like this metal underneath this was all kind of bent up. You can see it kind of bulging out underneath. So it ain't the prettiest, but it's a lot better than having no counter flashing like they had before, just caulking. So now we're saw cut in there the whole way. Usually I'll leave the pieces from underneath like this, from this piece, the front piece. This piece will curl under, and I'll usually try to bend that around to help hold this piece in. Even though this one's bent into this groove, it shouldn't be able to, some concrete there. It shouldn't be able to bend out of that groove. And up here, so I just went up beyond the metal up here behind this. I did cut into this a little bit there to try to get my saw cut back a little more. And I'm just gonna caulk this. I'm gonna go get some paintable caulking, some really nice caulking, so it will last a while. And I'm just gonna caulk that joint, and because I got to caulk up there again, and down here a little bit. But I want to get some nice paintable caulking, not silicone, because they're probably going to stain the chimney, and I want them to be able to get that caulking the same color. They might want to do it the same color as the roof. I don't know. But anyhow, instead of putting the silicone there, I'll try to get some caulking. If I can't find caulking that I like, I'll just get the silicone I like. All right, so that's this side. This gap is, it's a little bit less, but it's still kind of big. But I'm just gonna fill it with caulking, like it was before. We're gonna try to make it look a little prettier. The back piece, I kind of bent. Oh, look at that! I just put my finger there. No. To come back and touch this up anyway. So I bent this piece around like that, and I did it in this kind of weird way to make sure I got this metal capped off like that, and I bent it under the side here so it can't lift up. And then we have this little cricket roof. Yeah, and it's bent under on that side, and that's what it looks like. And before we had no counter flashing here, and it was just caulked in, so this should do a lot better. So now I just got to run to the hardware store and get some caulking. And this one, liners are in, everything's in, just some touch-up stuff or punch list type stuff, and we're out of here. on to the next.